Welcome to IntoMath Grade 9, Lesson 6, and we are going to continue linear relations, and we're going to go into linear functions as well. So imagine that you see a train moving, and you know that the speed of the train is 150 kilometers an hour. This is the rate at which the train is progressing. We call it speed, but in reality it's also the rate of change, right? Of the speed, of the distance versus time, which we call speed. Now, if you want to determine the distance traveled over time, you can represent it using an equation, which is a linear relation equation. So distance equals speed times time. Now, if I want to find out how far the train will be after, say, 2 hours, then I will simply substitute 2 hours in for t and evaluate it. So distance will be 300 kilometers away from the starting point. The relationship between t and d is called a function. When I input something for time, I get only one possible value for distance. They have a direct relationship. This is direct proportion. So as time increases, distance increases. I can represent this relationship, this function, using 4 different methods. I can show it using the equation. I can also use the table of values. I can use the graph. And I can also show it in terms of the word problem. Let's look at linear functions and how we can graph them. So you're given an equation of a linear function, y equals negative 3x. This is the equation in the form a equals kx. So in this case, the graph will always go through the origin, 0, 0. How do we know that? It's when you're substituting a value of x of 0 into the equation, it will always give you 0 for y. 0 for x, negative 3 times 0 is 0. In order for us to graph this function, we need to have at least 2 points. So one of them I've already discovered. It's 0, 0. And then the other one, I can choose any value of x and substitute it into the equation to solve for y. So say I take negative 2. Negative 2 goes in for x. Negative 2 times negative 3 is positive 6. This is my point number 2. So ordered pair number 1 and ordered pair number 2. I then plot them on a graph. So when x is negative 2, y is 6. This is point A. And when x is 0, y is 0. This is point B. Once I have those 2 points, I connect them into a straight line. Then I label it with the equation y equals negative 3x. So this negative tells me that the line will go down from left to right, and the 3 determines the steepness of the line. Let's now look at another type of linear function. This one is in the form y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope of a line and b is the y-intercept. The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis when x value is 0. So the function that we got is equal to 2x plus 1. In order for us to graph this function, we will take 2 points. So I will choose any x values that I like, and then I will substitute them for x into the equation to get the corresponding y values. So when x is 2, I have 2 times 2 plus 1, which is 5. And then when x is 0, I'll do 2 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. So point number 1, point number 2, and I'm plotting them on a graph. So when x is 2, y is 5, and when x is 0, y is 1. So this is what I was talking about. The y-intercept, the line will cross the y-axis at 1. And if you look closely at the equation, you will see that this value here, plus 1, is exactly that. It determines the y-intercept. It gives you the point right away. So in reality, we didn't even really have to find it, but we have discovered it. This line has an equation of y equals to x plus 1. It has a positive slope. You see that there is a plus sign in front of 2. It's not negative, it's positive. So it goes up from left to right. And the slope of the line is determined, the steepness of the line is determined by this value 2. How do we find the slope? Let's look now at the formula to determine the steepness of any line. Say we have a graph of a line and we want to determine how steep it is. What is the slope of this line? We need to pick any 2 points on the graph that are nice points, that have nice coordinates of x and y, and then apply the following formula. We need to find the difference in y, the difference in x, and then divide the difference in y by the difference in x. So the formula that we'll use is m, which represents the slope of the line, is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. What are these x's and y's? So in the 2 points that we have ordered pairs of x and y. So this one is x1 and this one is y1, x2, y2. It doesn't really matter which one you label with which, as long as ones go with ones and twos goes with twos. And then you substitute it into the formula in terms of numbers. So m equals y2 is 4, subtract y1, which is 2, and then x2 is 4, subtract x1, which is also 2, and we get 2 over 2, which is 1. So the steepness of the line is 1, which means you go up 1 and over 1 each time you want to graph this line. Alright, this is it for today. This is it for this lesson. This is lesson number 6, and you have one more to go in grade 9. Move on to the next lesson after you do some practice on graphing linear function. And I'll see you soon.